The man who has walked into every single arena like he owns the air inside it, the man who has made grown wrestlers cry on live television, the man who has treated every opponent like an insect underneath his boot that man got dismantled on Monday Night Raw. And the person who did it? Seth freaking Rollins. If you are a Gunther fan right now, I need you to sit down, because what happened on Raw this past Monday was not just a beatdown. It was not just a rivalry moment. It was a statement. It was a warning. It was Seth Rollins reaching into Gunther's chest and ripping out every ounce of that dominant, suffocating, arrogant energy he has been walking around with and slamming it into the mat. And right now, Gunther is dealing with severe neck pain. The ring general, the man who has made careers look like footnotes, is hurt. And the wrestling world is on fire because of it. Drop a comment right now. Tell me, did Seth Rollins just break Gunther? Or is this the moment that makes Gunther more dangerous than ever? I want to hear from you, but first you need to know everything about what went down. Segment 1: Setting the stage. To understand why this moment hits so differently, you need to understand what Gunther has represented in WWE over the last couple of years. This is not just a big guy who hits hard. Gunther is a philosophy. He is the walking, breathing embodiment of the idea that professional wrestling is a brutal sport, and that only the strongest, most technically gifted athlete deserves to stand at the top. He held the Intercontinental Championship for what felt like an eternity. He destroyed legend after legend. Sheamus, Ricochet, Karrion Kross. These are not jobbers. These are men who have defined eras of WWE, and Gunther made them look like they were still learning how to lace their boots. When Gunther moved up to Raw and started sniffing around the main event scene, there was a real, genuine sense of fear. Not the kayfabe kind. The real kind, the kind where you watch a performer and think, nobody on this roster has an answer for this man. And then came Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, who has been doing this at the highest level for over a decade. Seth Rollins, who reinvented himself from the Shield to the Authority's golden boy to the visionary, a man who wears sequin jackets and laughs in the face of pressure. A man who has held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and defended it against some of the most terrifying challengers in recent memory. These two men were on a collision course, and Monday Night Raw was the spark that lit the entire powder keg. Segment 2: The Attack, breaking it down beat by beat. Now let's talk about what actually happened on Raw, because the details of this attack are what make it so absolutely devastating to watch. The night started with tension already in the air. Gunther had been cutting promos in recent weeks that were nothing short of masterful. He doesn't scream. He doesn't jump around. He speaks in this cold, measured, almost surgical tone that makes every single word feel like a verdict. He had been dismissing Seth Rollins not with hatred, but with something worse: indifference. He treated Seth like a nuisance, like a talented but ultimately irrelevant distraction from the greatness that Gunther was destined to achieve. That is the kind of disrespect that Seth Rollins cannot let slide. When Seth appeared on Raw, you could feel it in the building. The crowd was electric. And when these two men found themselves in the same space, the air changed. There is a chemistry between Gunther and Rollins that is almost violent in its intensity. Two performers at the absolute top of their craft, two massive egos, two completely different worldviews about what it means to be the best. The confrontation escalated quickly. Words were exchanged. Gunther, true to form, was dismissive, condescending. He looked at Seth like a parent looks at a child who has said something embarrassing. And that was the match that lit Seth Rollins' fuse. What followed was a brutal, calculated attack that had the entire Raw audience on their feet with their hands over their mouths. Seth Rollins did not brawl with Gunther. He did not get emotional and charge in recklessly. He was surgical. He was focused. Every single strike, every single move, was aimed at one specific target: Gunther's neck. The stomp. The repeated stomps. The relentless targeting of the neck and head region with a ferocity and a precision that we have not seen from Seth Rollins in a very long time. Gunther, for all his toughness, and make no mistake, the man is iron, could not fully withstand it. By the time Seth was done, Gunther was down. The ring general was on the mat, hands at his neck, face twisted in pain. The crowd was losing their minds. Some booing Seth, some cheering, most just stunned into disbelief. The medical team was out there within moments. The word backstage, and this is where it gets really serious, is that Gunther is dealing with significant neck discomfort as a result of this attack. The severity is still being assessed, but the phrase neck injury in professional wrestling carries enormous weight. We all know what that means for a competitor's ability to perform. Gunther had to be helped to the back. Let that sink in. The man who has made a career out of making opponents look helpless walked to the back with assistance. Because of Seth Rollins. Segment 3: Why this matters more than you think. Now some of you might be watching this and thinking, okay, big attack, someone got hurt, this is just angle advancement. But I want you to think deeper about what this moment means for both of these men's trajectories. Gunther's entire identity is built on invulnerability. His psychological dominance over every opponent comes directly from the fact that he has never looked weak. He has never looked scared. He has never been the man on the mat, struggling to get up. That image, Gunther down, Gunther hurting, Gunther needing help, is catastrophically damaging to the persona he has spent years constructing. You cannot be the ring general if the enemy has already ransacked your castle. And this is exactly what Seth Rollins understood. Seth didn't just want to beat Gunther. He wanted to unmake him. He wanted to take the one thing that Gunther relies on more than his chops, more than his size, more than his technique, his aura of invincibility, and destroy it on national television. Mission accomplished. But here's the other side of this coin that I think is equally important. This attack also tells us something massive about where Seth Rollins is right now mentally and emotionally. This was not the Seth Rollins who jokes around and does his little laugh. This was not the Seth Rollins who winks at the camera and tells everyone he's having the time of his life. This was a dark, focused, almost frightening version of Seth Rollins. The version that shows up when something matters so deeply to him that the showmanship gets stripped away and all that's left is the killer instinct underneath. Seth Rollins needed this. He needed to make a statement this enormous. And the fact that he chose Gunther, the biggest, most dominant, most intimidating presence on Raw, as the target of that statement tells you exactly how high Seth's ambitions are right now. Segment 4: What happens next? This is the part you've all been waiting for, the future. Where does this go from here? Let's start with Gunther. The neck injury, real or storyline, it does not matter for our purposes, gives WWE a fascinating storytelling tool. A hurt Gunther is a dangerous Gunther. There is nothing more unpredictable in professional wrestling than a prideful, dominant champion or contender who has been publicly humiliated and physically damaged. Gunther will not sit back and take this quietly. He will not call a doctor and ask for time off. He will come back with violence. He will come back with the kind of rage that makes his normal dominance look like a warm-up act. And when Gunther is angry, when that cold exterior finally cracks and the fury underneath comes spilling out, that is when he is at his most dangerous. Seth Rollins may have just created the most terrifying version of Gunther we have ever seen. On the other side, Seth now has the momentum. He has the heat. He has the story. The entire WWE universe is talking about him, arguing about him, splitting into camps, Team Seth and Team Gunther, and that kind of polarizing energy is gold for a storyline. A match between these two, whether it's at a premium live event or the grandest stage of them all, has all the ingredients to be a genuine match of the year candidate. We are talking about two of the most technically gifted, psychologically complex, charismatically enormous performers in the entire company. A fully fleshed out program between them could produce some of the best Raw television we've seen in years, culminating in a match that people will talk about for a long, long time. The question is, does Gunther get his revenge first? Does he come back on Raw next week and make Seth Rollins pay immediately? Or does WWE do the smart thing, let this simmer, let the tension build until it becomes absolutely unbearable, and then blow the roof off a major event? I know which option I'm pulling for. Let it cook. Segment 5: The fan reaction and why it's divided. Something I want to address because it's been all over social media since this happened is the divided reaction from the WWE universe. A significant portion of fans are furious at Seth Rollins. And I get it. Gunther has cultivated a following of fans who genuinely respect what he represents, an old-school, no-nonsense approach to professional wrestling that feels refreshingly authentic in an era of overproduced, over-choreographed television. When Seth attacks him from a position of apparent advantage, laying in those stomps with that kind of cold calculation, it reads as cowardly to those fans. It reads as someone who couldn't face Gunther on equal terms, so he had to take a shortcut. And that reaction? That heat? That is exactly what this angle is designed to generate. Because here is the genius of Seth Rollins as a performer: he can make you question everything. Was this a heel move? Was this a desperate man taking the only opening he had? Or was this a calculated genius making his most important chess move yet? Seth exists in this morally gray space that almost no other performer in WWE can occupy so comfortably. Then there's the other half of the fanbase, the people who are cheering. The people who have been waiting for somebody to finally knock Gunther off his pedestal, even momentarily. The people who look at Seth Rollins and see the quintessential underdog, smaller, less imposing physically, but smarter and more resilient than anyone gives him credit for. This division in the fan base is not a problem. It is the story. It is the engine that will drive viewership, drive social media engagement, drive ticket sales. This is what great professional wrestling booking looks like, and I think we need to appreciate it while we're in it. Closing call to action. Monday Night Raw just gave us the most compelling storyline on the show right now, and it's only just beginning. Gunther is hurt. His neck is a question mark. His aura of invincibility has a crack in it. And Seth Rollins is standing in the middle of that crack, prying it wider with both hands and that signature unhinged grin. I need to know, where do you stand? Is Seth Rollins a cold-blooded genius who just played the smartest move of his career? Or did he just wake up a monster that is going to eat him alive? Drop your take in the comments right now. And if you think Gunther comes back next week and absolutely destroys Seth Rollins, give this video a like. If you think Seth Rollins has the ring general on the ropes for good, share this video with every wrestling fan you know. Subscribe to Ring Rumble 1 if you are not already part of this family, because this story is nowhere near over, and you do not want to miss a single second of the fallout. This is Ring Rumble 1. And the Rumble? It never stops.